Good evening, everyone. The regular board meeting is being recorded. Anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via AVUHSD's YouTube channel. Individuals may take photographs or record meetings provided the individual's conduct does not constitute a disruption, including obstructing the view of others. Aren't you supposed to play this? Or do I read it? Okay, sorry.
You can do anything you want. You're the president.
You can go ahead and continue that before I lose my voice. But good evening, everybody.
Welcome to the Antelope Valley Union High School District Board of Trustees meeting. This board meeting is being recorded. Anyone wishing to observe the meeting may do so via AVUHSD's YouTube channel. Individuals may take photographs or record meetings provided the individual's conduct does not constitute a disruption, including obstructing the views of others. Those wishing to address items on the agenda and matters that are not on the agenda but within the jurisdiction of the AVUHSD board shall do so in person, complete a speaker form, and give it to the designee before the public comment portion of the meeting. The speaker form must be given to Ms. Orozco before the board president announces the item. Once the item has been called, we will no longer accept new cards. Ms. Orozco will call the individual's name to come up to the podium to provide their comments. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each. A total time for public input on each item shall be limited to 20 minutes. Non-agendized items are limited to a total allotment of 20 minutes. Only one person is permitted to stand at the podium at a time. No speaker may relinquish a time allotment to another speaker. The district encourages members of the public to attend board meetings and to address the board concerning any item on the agenda or within the board's jurisdiction. The board does not prohibit public criticism of its policies, procedures, programs, services, acts, or omissions. Similarly, the board does not prohibit public criticism of district employees. Speakers are cautioned that no person is immune from liability for making intentionally false or defamatory comments simply because those comments are made at a public meeting. Attendees are also reminded of the board's civility policy, Policy 1313. This civility policy requires that members of the district staff will treat parents and other members of the public with respect and expect the same in return. The district is committed to maintaining disruption-free board meetings. The board will not permit any disturbance or willful interruption of its board meetings. Persistent disruption by an individual or group are grounds to terminate the privilege of addressing the board. Persistent disruption by an individual shall be grounds for the board president to terminate the individual's privilege to address the board. The district promotes mutual respect, civility, and orderly conduct among district board members, district employees, parents, and the public. The district seeks public cooperation with this endeavor.
Thank you. All right, roll call. John Lloyd, you get a roll call, right? Yes, please roll call. I need coffee, clearly. Rosemary Mann, Charles Hughes.
Here.
Cynthia Hernandez.
Here.
Miguel Sanchez is not here this evening, and I am here, Carla Corona. If we can stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, Mr. Hughes, please lead us. I would like Mr. Hughes to please.
Yes, Madam President. Put your right hand over your heart. I'm not too tired. I pledge allegiance to the flag,
the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, agenda 2. A recognition, John Lloyd, Sid San Gabriel, student board member, Mr. Nehan.
So this is John Lloyd's last meeting, and we just wanted to take a moment to recognize and thank you, John Lloyd, for your representation. Broad, different voice.
And I would just like to add, again, a sense of gratitude for you. It was really wonderful to work with you and meet you as this is my first year doing board president, so we were able to work a little closer together. And I'm really hopeful that some of your visions will come to life even after you have left. So thank you so much.
Have a plaque.
All right. Next up is the ICC. This is your second opportunity to talk with us, and it's so great to see you all back. I enjoyed it so much, and we all enjoyed it so much in March that we just had to have you back because I don't think we finished our discussions and hearing your voices because those are what matter. So we have about 49 minutes to talk. I definitely had a couple of, or I have 3 items that I would like to address with you. Can I just start with whichever?
So this, share with them, have to get up with the parents and, you know,
Okay. Okay, that's okay. All right. Let's talk cell phones. Everybody pull out their cell phone. Everyone pull out their cell phone.
You got myself.
No. So these little devices are what we want to talk about. And these little devices either are going to make you or break you in education. That is my firm belief. So I want us to, we could put them away. That was just more of a theatrical moment.
I'll
To
be right back. I'm gonna go find mine.
to talk to you all about cell phone policy in school. As we mentioned last time, the state of California has now created, what's the number?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, it's a law now that in all California schools, each school has to have a policy, a cell phone policy. Now, what that means, it really is up to the district, is my understanding, but there has to be something in place. As you all know, we've already had something in place for decades, I believe, the mobile device usage. But now we're in 2025, it's a much different time. So these are the three areas I want us to think about. And please, this is your time to talk to the board about your learning environment and in conjunction with this. Okay, good job. So during class use, think about that. Non-instructional time during your snacks. Do they call them recess anymore? Is it okay? Lunch, before school, even after school. Earpods, watches, iPads. I would even add Chromebooks in there. Anything that's electronic, okay? So how about this? Just to get your juices flowing, let's take 1 minute and just talk to your neighbor really quick about any of those things, what's rising to the top for you, so that in a minute we can start a dialogue. I know. So I'll give you 1 minute. Right. All right, that's your minute. I loved hearing. Okay. This is gonna get potentially heated of debate because I don't know if we all are gonna be agreement, but that's okay. That's what dialogue is for. Who wants to start? Real quick before we start, who do we have represented? What schools? East Side, Highland. Are you all East Side in the front row? AV, second row. Soar and Lancaster. Are you? Oh, Soar Lancaster. Got it. Okay. And Quartz Hill, great. We have 1, 2. So we have what, 5 schools? 4 or 5 schools. Great. Good. What do y'all want to say? What are your thoughts? Who's going to be the brave first person? Go ahead.
Thought that comes to my mind personally from my experience is thank you. A thought that comes to my mind personally from my experience is I use my phone a lot for productivity. So whenever I'm in a couple different leadership positions. I have multiple AP classes. I took a college class last semester again. So I've used them to track things to make sure my schedule's right. And obviously this is something you could do with a planner, like a physical planner in your backpack. But to be able to have the same capacity as what I've used my phone for, it would be yet another thick book taking up space and weighing down the backpack all day constantly. And I find it much easier for using a smartphone for that. Obviously, the phones should not be able to be out during class time, but it is convenient during passing periods or break or lunch to be able to check my schedule, add things that have come up throughout the day, or change things that might have shifted in time since everything's always tentative when you're working on a school schedule, it seems.
And I have a question. So where did you learn all of that? Where did you learn how to utilize the phone in a way that is like a planner? Because I know we spend like what, $80,000 on planners. So if you're saying that it could be instead of the planner, then that makes us think of other things. But where did you learn how to be, I'll call it, responsible with your phone in school?
And full disclosure, I'm not always responsible. I fear.
Yes, thank you for your honesty.
But it's something that came up over time with the amount of things I was having to do. Learned a few times from missing things or mistaking time that I needed to track it somewhere. And I originally did use my school planner, but it got lost and I wasn't sure where to go about getting a new one reissued. So I fell back on my phone and it just became convenience from there.
I want you guys to understand this too, because what you're thinking about is what you're used to right now. You guys understand the laws coming in, and a lot of the feeder schools are already going to certain uh, systems on the cell phones. So you guys are kind of thinking, hey, this is for us how we responded. But remember, next year, the year after that, the year after that, within 4 years, they'll probably 4 or 5 years, they're not, these kids that are coming into the high schools are not going to have the same experience you guys, because they're already having no phones. So I just want to make sure you guys understand that. And another thing I want to say is whatever we decide as a board, I want to ensure that we're not putting the police work on the teachers, because I don't think that's what we should be doing. So a couple things I just wanted to say to start this out. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And what was your name?
Joshua.
Joshua. Thank you. Ellington.
Joshua, you had a lot of great points. I agree too. One thing I really agree with is we shouldn't have phones in the classroom, but in passing periods, I think, or especially in like when we have lunches or breaks, I think that's like an important time to, well, not important, but that's a time I feel like we should allow students to have their phones, because even I use my phone. I have reminders to just remind myself, oh, I need to make sure I do this, or I need to make this form, using my phone to check assignments I have. Using my phone during passing periods has become like something that has helped me keep track of my stuff even more than the planner.
So let me say what I said earlier.
Yeah.
That's your experience, correct?
Mhm.
We have to make decisions here based on the law. That's your experience. But in 4 years from now, somebody sitting in that same chair is not going to have that same experience, because they're not potentially going to have that cell phone all through the feeder schools to us. Now they're getting to high school and they're going to have to follow the policy that we set. So can we kind of make sure we think about that when we're answering?
Yeah.
Because we got it how it worked for you, and that's great. But we're trying to set a policy for people coming behind you.
Well,
Okay.
I know that just not me, but I see in the classroom, the phone is, like you guys said, is a problem. Like
Yeah.
we need to cut
Hence,
down
that's
on
why
it.
they
There
made a
needs to be a
law,
policy.
right?
Yeah.
Since the
I
legislature actually
think
agreed on something, made a law.
what we should focus on is at least starting with the classroom, inside the classroom, because I know, like I think previously we mentioned whether we should have pouches or the lockers, or how should we contain it in the classroom. I think one of the major part is in the classroom, because that's when the learning's happening, and that's when the phone, I feel like, would be most distracting. Or yeah.
I have a question. Because I understand also what Mr. Hughes is saying. We're looking ahead, but I also want to understand the present so that we can plan for the future. A couple of things. Can you share maybe 1 or 2 experiences of in the classroom? I just want you to focus about when you're in the classroom, of what type of distractions the cell phone is causing for your learning environment. I mean, and I'm sure you have many examples, but maybe give one. And then also your experiences with the teachers and their phones, because it's not just about students and phones. It's about teacher, staff, everybody else with phones. It's just phones. It's literally, I'm just asking a question. Does anyone want to give that an experience? Go ahead.
I've learned, I mean, I'm trying to learn self-control on my phone, but I know I've noticed other students. Um, I know this one kid in my chemistry class, he pulls out his phone and his iPad, and I just see him play Minecraft during chemistry. And he has his own phone stand for his phone, which I think is very unnecessary. And this kid has been called out by the teacher multiple times, and the teacher's trying to find a common ground with him on how he can focus on notes, because since chemistry has started, he's probably taken 2 pages of notes. And at a certain point, the teacher is kind of out of their control, because I know at school we're held to like a way higher standard, and he got told it's your responsibility about your education. But I think that having 3 devices out is kind of crazy. So
And
what
that
I've
distracts
noticed.
your learning
Yeah,
you're
because sometimes I'm just
seeing-
like watching like, yo, that's low key cool. But I'm like, I gotta get onto chemistry.
I mean, yeah, then even a couple years ago with the World Cup happening, everyone had their phone out watching the World Cup. And then besides it being a distraction, it's also used to cheat very easily during classes.
Right. Okay. Those are great. Oh, yeah. Let me hear 2 examples on this side and then we'll move.
I had a response to your first question. I believe that cell phones should be banned inside of schools because, as you were saying, if they already started implementing it, this is what they're used to. When you now allow them this freedom and these opportunities of the cellular device, they may take it to a new level of extent than even us as students now are, because we've had it this whole time. They're now, it's like new candy to them, and now it's like they don't know the possibilities to it. I also feel like, to include a little bit of what those 2 gentlemen over there were saying, that during the lunchtime or that little passing period, you could possibly use your phone, but it'd be taken out of like your lunchtime, like different opportunities and like things to think about then, because then you can look at your planner and stuff like that, and you can like look at your schedule on your phone maybe during lunch, but in the classroom you can't have your phone. Just some ideas. I also kind of just a question, when you had mentioned headphones, what about people who have IEPs and stuff like that, and like noise or stuff like that bothers them, or those who have like anxiety or autism and those kinds of things, who like need those devices to help them concentrate?
Yeah, this is not applicable to
Okay.
those. Yeah, this is for the much bigger picture.
Okay.
Just like kind of an example, and also like referring back to earlier conversation. One thing that is like kind of a big deal, I feel like, is the point with teachers with their phones and students with their phones. One of the big arguments from students that are chronically on their phones during class is that, oh, well, my teacher, is always on it too. And I feel like that's really a big deal. That's like not really like seen a lot, I feel like. And I feel like it should just be, everyone should be held accountable for their phone usage in the classroom setting, that when it shouldn't really be used. And also, I feel like we have these conversations, us ICC members, we have these conversations with you guys, and we come to understandings of the phone usage and everything. But I also feel like there's students out there with a lot of people don't even know about the new law, but we know about it and we're discussing it. So I feel like there should be something where even students that are not able to come over here, that they should be informed about it. So then they come to an understanding like we have with you guys.
And that was one of the ideas that John Lloyd and I had talked about, is like these school town halls that we were talking about, which we'll get to in a moment. But exactly, all of the other, there's what, 20,000 enrollees, 20,000 students, and there's 40 here. Okay, maybe not 40. I don't know how to count, but that's a very big difference. So 26 students here. And what are the results?
I don't have.
Well, yeah, what was the outcome of the survey in favor of? Oh, good. Okay.
If I
Good.
may.
Yeah.
So we're talking about cell phones.
We're talking about cell phones and ear pods, watches, and iPads. And there's also new technology out there with glasses. And so what we're going to find is that just like anybody else, they're going to try to find a loophole and say, well, these are prescription. So
Yeah. And that's a part of, I think, that because I would say that's AI intelligence. I mean,
Yeah.
that's intelligence that are through the glasses, and hopefully our task force is on that with the development. So would we say that during the class time, and the way I'm defining the class time is when you're in a classroom or the gym or a concert stage, any place that's instruction is happening, that you would feel like it would be best to turn them or put them in a shoebox or whatever method it is. Go ahead.
I recently got an iPad,
and I use it for school, like just completely for school, like no video games, nothing. And that's just me because that's how and I got used to having my iPad taken into school every morning, taking my notes, going to have my notes there. And for me it's more conveniently because I don't have to go to the Chromebooks and get one and then come back. No, I just have to go sit down. And that's for me. For me, an iPad, I just use it for school. But let's say like somebody used an example, like they were on there, they were playing Minecraft and they had their whole sand. It's just different. Like I wouldn't want my iPad to get banned because other students aren't using it in a good way, or they're not using it academically. That's just something to consider. Like there's some students that are using it right. I'm using it for my studies. I'm not using it for nothing else. And yeah, that's something. It's just something to like consider. There's some students that are using it in a good way, in an academically good way, but some are not. Like I've seen students use Nintendo Switches, like video games, bringing them to school. Like it's just electronics in general, not just phones and iPads or watches. It's just electronics in general. We have to be aware of, like, have all the options and have all the perspectives all together to make a decision like that.
Yeah, and that's a really great point you bring up too, because we invest so much in digital learning, online platforms. Don't you do Google Classrooms or those sorts? So that is the way you're learning a lot of the time. However, that's going to be another thing to talk about, is because I feel, my opinion as a teacher educator, that we're relying too much on digital learning, and students don't even know how to write notes. I think I could count one student in my class of 20 that actually brings a paper and a pen. Otherwise, they're just staring at me. And it's they're not succeeding in my class. So it's just something to think about with the digital learning. Also, Mr. Nehan, where, and I asked this question to you directly because do we feel like the phones are so rampant that teachers cannot get a hold of it because it sounds like everybody has an experience in their classroom where a teacher is there and there's phones out, but there's no enforcement. So who is holding them accountable for the policy of device? And also, have we just kind of let it go because it's already so huge? It's kind of like a virus that has taken over.
There was a time where cell phone use on campus was strictly enforced, and then that transition to using the phone as a tool. The idea was that every device was going to be replaced by a phone. And so that was a couple of year period. And then it transitioned back to, for productivity purposes, you needed a keyboard. And then education transitioned to the Chromebook or the laptop. But there are teachers who have a firm cell phone policy, and it's adhered to in their classes. So it's really the teacher's discretion, the level of enforcement, and then they enforce it, and it works. And I feel that by starting at the beginning of the school year with a campaign to parents and students, understanding that the vast majority of our ninth graders coming in will have already served a year of this, at least a year of restricted cell phone use, and then a couple of weeks of reinforcing the policy, it would become a maintenance issue versus a rampant use. It's just, this is the expectation. Students and staff, this is the expectation during instruction time. Cell phones are not out, or depending on the other devices.
But that's already in place. So my question is,
It's
what?
not in place. It's not in place.
Oh, okay, so the
It's-
policy is
it's
just
not.
there, but okay.
It has not been
Go ahead.
enforced with any reinforcement or proactive effort.
And your feeling is that you want to wait until the fall to enforce?
We have 2.5 weeks of school back, so.
Yeah. Nothing.
It's just
I
a
don't think
question.
we should
Go ahead.
implement anything at this time.
Yeah.
But I want to jump, Mr. Millings. I don't want to put you on the spot. Can you weigh in on this?
Can you introduce him?
Go ahead. This is Mike Millings. He's
Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Millings. I'm the Teachers Union president. I was a teacher at Quartzel High School, teaching chemistry for 15 years. I taught at Little Rock High School for 6 years, chemistry, and now I teach independent study. But just to weigh in, I'm hearing what you guys are saying, and I think, yeah, there's pros and cons to both sides of the argument. I think generally speaking, teachers are tired of enforcing and policing cell phones in the classrooms. To the point that, yeah, when you walk into classrooms now, you see cell phones just out and about and rampant because we're tired of having to police and enforce it. So,
And can I ask you, that puts a lot of pressure on your teachers, especially with the relationships of students. And if they want to get really tough, then you have to get a discipline. Then we have to discipline students, potentially pulling them out of a learning environment. And by that teacher taking time to talk to that kids, taking time from all the other kids, correct?
yeah, you bring up a good point, Mr. Hughes. I think also, generally speaking, there's a good amount of instructional time that could be lost in those classrooms on a daily basis by, teachers enforcing cell phone policy in their classroom. Absolutely.
Mr. Billings and I have had this conversation before, and if you think about the number of staff on our campus at any given time, no one has more eyes on students than teachers at any given time. And I feel that most teachers wouldn't want the enforcement taken of their classroom management as a whole, wouldn't want that taken from them. And like I said, there's classrooms where it's working. It's with consistency. It's with clear expectations at the beginning. Those pieces come into play, and making sure our parents are big supporters by and large, making sure our parents have an understanding of the law and the policy and the expectation, as well as any consequences.
Have-
And just to piggyback on what Mr. Nehan said, I wholeheartedly agree. I think any cell phone policy that this governing board ultimately decides to implement needs to lift some of the burden of policing and enforcing the cell phone policy in the classroom off of the backs of teachers, which is what we've been doing for 20 years. So, not to mention an accountability piece as well for students.
Mhm.
What do you guys think about that discussion?
Hello, I do agree that teachers, that burden on their back, it shouldn't have to involve them. Students may be accountable with their devices, but at the same time, we do have access to things like Chromebooks. Chromebooks have been a big thing ever since quarantine hit, and students in middle school, elementary have been learning how to use them. So if we have Chromebooks in our schools, I don't see reasons why we need, other devices. But at the same time, like the AP classes, they are now all digital. This year was our first year, not all AP classes, but AP tests, mostly all on computer, no more pencil and paper. So that, sorry, just something to consider. Thank you.
But do you do your work on the phone or it's on the Chromebook? When you say digital, you mean through a
Through a
laptop?
Chromebook.
Right.
So
So you not on your phone.
no, I'm not on my phone. Mine's again. Hello. From the conversation you guys had, I was thinking about, and I've observed my classrooms, and most of the classrooms that do use their phones, the students do use their phones, are when teachers aren't lecturing. So they just assign a class, some classwork, and then the students have like their time to do it in the classroom, and then the classrooms that students aren't using their phone is when the teacher is lecturing like the whole time. And so students are paying attention and they have some are like actively learning at the moment. When students have like online work on a Chromebook, they could just slip their phone and then just the teacher isn't like actively teaching them at the moment, if that
Mhm.
makes sense.
Yeah, and I think in March there was a couple of students that mentioned they just get a packet for the whole hour and that's their being taught through a packet. And certainly we want teachers and students to have an exchange of knowledge, right? The interaction, the engagement, the dialogue, questions, inquiry, like those sorts of things, dynamic classrooms. And so that was something that stayed with me from, I think there were 2 students that mentioned that last time. Go ahead.
Yeah. One thing that I feel like kind of like piggybacking off her is just when I'm in my classrooms, I'm very like, I feel like I pay attention to the surrounding in general. And I feel like personally within our school, I don't know if this is for any other schools, but I feel like a lot of teachers or like even students themselves, like if we're in an AP classroom, there's barely going to be any phones. And it's just like, well, we're an AP classroom. So it's like that phone like kind of policy, like it's more implemented into those because we're held at this more higher like place. That's well, that's kind of the mentality. But if I was in, say, my third period, which is a regular English class, that phone policy isn't really there. And I feel like teachers don't really like, oh, well, you're just like an English sci-fi class. It's okay.
Yeah, and you bring up an excellent point of consistent expectations of our students to excellence. And if just because you're in an AP, just because you're in honors, you shouldn't have different expectations than the next student. And that concerns me.
So I guess a question I had is with these policies moving into effect, the practicality of them. I forget who it was. It might have been one of you board members. I'm not positive, but someone mentioned like teachers using phones, and that reminded me of something important that I wanted to mention, which is we've for years now, as technology has become bigger and bigger, we've stood between the two worlds of convention and adaptation, where we have to stick with the successful conventions that we know while accepting the new technologies into our systems. And I feel like a lot of the ways that we've integrated it has further increased this divide that makes students feel disengaged and go on their phones. In a lot of my classes, personally, I can attest to teachers having to not just be on their phones for the sake of being on their phone, texting people, whatever, but be at their desks, having to go on Power School and administer grades, plug in the numbers, go on, grading all the work on the computers, having to have all kinds of time spent going from site to site. And especially as we're working with some of the older teachers who, for the beginning and middle of their tenure, did not have this kind of technology in play, them having to learn it, get used to it, and all of its effects is a bit of a learning curve that also takes them time. And as such, students in the classroom spend time for their teachers to learn new technologies and new methods of executing it. And I feel like there's a question on just where do we, what can we do to encourage more participation in the classroom from students and more engagement from teachers? And I wonder if some of this involves maybe not getting rid of entirely technologies in the classroom, but questioning more where we apply them.
Can I hop on really quick to say something? So I want for ICC, I want you guys to nod your heads. Like you guys have seen students use their phones, right? Have you guys seen teachers and staff use their phones? So it's just something for you guys to put out there, to you guys to think about asking when you guys are answering questions, is that we're applying this phone policy not just for students, but as we say for the district, including staff and teachers, right? So when we enforce this among students, teachers, who's going to enforce teachers? Who's going to enforce security? Because you guys have seen security use their phones. You guys have seen teachers use their phones. So everyone uses their phones, right? So when we're talking about, let's say, balance, fairness, when we're enforcing this to students, who's going to enforce the teachers and who's going to enforce the staff? Because as you guys said, we're trying to make an engaging environment, an engaging classroom. So once students are enforced to not have phones, they have to engage. But what if the teacher isn't engaged with the students?
Perfect person. It's this man right here. He will set the policy, and we're bringing in some really good cameras. So just so you guys know, I have a camera system at my restaurant, and trust me, I play cop on that more than restaurateur. So
Charlie, are the cameras going to be in the classrooms?
no
Okay.
cameras in the classroom.
So I think the question was who will hold the teachers accountable,
Mr. Nehan and the policy.
and Mr. Nehan will hold them accountable.
Mr. Nehan is the
How?
It'll be stated in the policy, and then it needs to be applied evenly, like John Lloyd said. It does need to be applied evenly and equitably and monitored. And it's when you're talking about monitoring 120 or 130 teachers on a campus all at one time, it's very challenging.
I think that something that you continue to bring up is the lack of engagement of the teachers. So please understand that this policy will be challenging for everyone involved. It really will be. And like they're saying, it may not even apply to you, but it will be challenging for the teachers, for the staff. So it is something that we all have to embrace together and help the generations coming after you to just make it smoother for them. But we're trying to work collectively with you and get the feedback from the main sources, from the frontliners to just pass this policy for, and we're not talking about what you say, like a planner or more productivity, because I'm all for digital, like I'm all for digital. But I'm not wasting time on Instagram. Like you're planning your life, you're planning your days, your reminders. So we're not really concerned with that. I think we're more concerned with just how we could collectively, teachers, students, and staff, push this policy forward so you guys could take this time to learn and to grow and to help the next generation just not be glued to Instagram scrolling, because that is the problem. The Minecraft playing on 4 devices, that is the problem. It will create a problem for the generations coming. It really will.
And if anyone is going to college after graduation, I am telling you, we have cell phone policies as well. So it's not going to be as strict, but cell phones don't work at a college classroom. They won't. So, you're going to have that as well. But I do want to, because I know we have less than 15 minutes, I want to move along the conversation with still the digital devices, but also your academic learning. Now, of course, you all are leaders within your schools, but you've got classmates and peers that may not be leaders in the schools. Our concern as the board, and my big concern, is our academic achievements and our math scores, our ELA, and next board meeting, we will have a math presentation. But I'm wondering if those Minecraft games and, watching the World Cup, YouTube, I was in a high school, I won't call it out, and right in front of me, a staff was showing a student how to do hair on YouTube, and I was there. And they didn't care. They didn't care who I was. That is not acceptable, right? But were they learning? Sure, they were learning how to do hair, but how is that going to propel them forward for their grades? Because we assess on grades, unfortunately. This is not UC Santa Cruz, where they don't use grades. So what are your thoughts on the digital learning academics, focusing specifically on academics through digital devicing, digital learning, platforms of that nature? I want to go back to pen and pencil. I know that's not ever going to happen, but kind of just those contrasting.
So throughout my learning experience, dating back to elementary and middle school, starting off with middle school, I went to an academy where strictly there's still phones were barely starting to evolve within my that age group, but it was all strictly like paper and pen. And I remember a personal experience like now, I tutor a lot of people from my family and their younger generations, and I found that a lot of people would bully said family members because they didn't know how to do Cornell notes, for example. And that is one thing that I had to learn and everything, but then quarantine hit. And I feel like quarantine is something that sometimes a lot of us forget, even though it was a big thing of our lives. A lot of that generation didn't learn how to do Cornell notes, and then they get bullied for that. And then even teachers sometimes are like, oh, how do you not know how to do this? And I feel like it's more so, I know we're trying to move forward and progress, but I feel like in order to do that, we have to go back to how we were taught and at least try to give them that opportunity to advance, because we can't just say, okay, we're going back to paper and pen and Cornell notes, but they don't know how to do it. So I feel like it's to the point where we have to also understand that a lot of people within quarantine were stuck in a certain place, and we might be at a certain place, but they're not. And I feel like we have to move a little back just to go forward.
I think,
Yeah, I completely agree.
I'm sorry. That really reminds me of when cell phones first came out. Do you guys remember those flip phones? How many of you have one? Oh, God.
Yeah, I
Yeah, just,
Burner phone.
like you said, embracing technology forward, like we all have, screens. So I think that is just with anything and with time. I mean, Mark Cuban said, first come the innovators, then come the imitators. And I think you guys can all finish that quote. So it's just the way we transition forward in groups.
Yeah, and you bring up a point too, because clearly there was a learning gap when you're just learning. I talk to my students about this a lot because they're 20 years old. So they were 14, 15 when COVID happened, and they tell me they didn't learn anything because there was no one there to guide them. Parents have to work, guardians may have to work, and they just were thrown in front of a screen. But also the teachers, we didn't know what we were doing either. When we were told one day to the next, you guess what? You have to learn, you have to teach now online for the next year.
2 years.
2 years. ABC went back a little sooner, but it was a lot. So I imagine what I went through and what the student, and I can relate in a way. Do you find that in your classrooms? I think what I'm trying to get out to and what we're trying to understand is we invest so much in digital learning. Every board meeting, you see thousands and thousands of dollars spent on platforms for this, that, or the other. Digital, everything's digital. But is it working? Right? I am a huge believer in project-based learning in the seats, in the classroom, project-based, not here's a screen, go. That's my personal belief. But again, I am not a high school student. So 1-on-1. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Joshua. No, who are you calling?
Right.
Joshua.
Joshua.
Oh,
Go ahead, Anthony.
Okay.
He's got.
Go ahead.
So I will say that from what I've seen, what I've experienced, yes, to an extent, Chromebooks can help us be more prepared for what we've been calling 21st century learning. But I really do think that in the long run, although we can enjoy using Chromebooks, I think it is more beneficial to revert to a more pen and paper approach, especially when we're talking about with math, where I think with English, even if you're, well, I feel this is the way I view it. The issue with moving back to pen and paper is the convenience for the teachers, because for math, it is much easier to have a program go through and say, these are the right answers. And so teachers are more reluctant to switch back to pen and paper because that means they have to physically grade it. With English, you are grading papers regardless. But with math, that's more the issue. And what we've seen with the rise of algebra calculators, calculus calculators that can do the work easily for you, and they are not blocked by the school district Chromebooks. It's just very easily accessible. And maybe there's always going to be distraction in the classroom. There's always going to be barriers to learning. But I think by moving back towards the pen and paper route, it does remove some of that risk. So I actually majorly agree with the main thing you said, which was for one department, going back to pen and paper may be incredible. With English, for example, I know it would be a lot more convenient. You'd have a lot less chat GPT issues. But then, like you said, for math, you have teachers who rely on programs like Delta Math and other similar programs that do a lot of the tedious looking over papers and checking things off for them. They don't have to do that, and they can spend that time teaching. They can spend that time helping students who are confused, not getting it. And so I really think that the best thing that we can do instead of as a district, as students, as a board, is instead of trying to widely integrate technology as a whole into everything, is integrate it in the select places where it will work best. In those places where we can cut out administrative work for the teachers, cut out grading for the teachers, cut out some tedious things for us students, but not integrated in the places where it's going to have a negative impact, where students are going to chat GPT their essays, where students are going to look up the answers. Finding a way to balance that and move forward without creating all the issues we presently see is, in my opinion, the best approach we can have here.
I think what you mean is it depends on the subject matter too. I agree with you. I know people that have learned how to change a tire just from watching a YouTube video. I learned to do my nails from watching a YouTube video. So I do believe that you do learn from watching, but I agree, theory and application, I can't learn how to change a tire from a YouTube video. Somebody.
I learned from YouTube today. I got my Tesla charger stuck and it wouldn't come out for some reason. I was just like, what am I going to do now? I've YouTubed it and it said, oh, there's a little release in my trunk. I was like, who would have known?
Thank you, YouTube. Go ahead.
Well, from my experience, well, I've talked to my dad many times about like technology and new technology and pen and paper, and he's always like, "Oh, your generation doesn't learn as much as like my generation did because you guys are always on a phone, always on a computer, and it's like it is supported or like scientifically proven that like if you are writing, if you're learning, taking notes on pen and paper, you learn more. Me on the biomedical academy, I'm doing human body systems, and I'm learning about the heart and the lungs, the respiratory system. Writing notes is much better than going on the Chromebook, looking at a video, watching a video, or just like reading like Nearpod. There's a teacher, my teacher has used Nearpod, and I did not like it. I did not enjoy it because
What's Nearpod?
Nearpod is like a presentation software that only the teacher is able to move the slides. So if you're not ready, then we're just still gonna keep moving. And it's for a lot of different, like you can use it for many other reasons, but she used it in that way that we're all gonna look at the presentation, I'll talk about it, give you 5 minutes, and then let's move on, even if you're behind or not. So like today, this whole week we've been taking notes just on ourselves, and I have my notes on my iPad and then take notes on my book for human body systems. And it's, for me, I've learned a lot about the respiratory system, all the muscles, because I've been writing them down, not just typing it down. Because if I can just search it up on Google, copy and paste it, turn it in the assignment, that's it. But it's different when you're writing notes and you're writing the answers down. And it's, me personally, I have learned a lot more like that on pen and paper, because it makes your brain think. It makes your brain like think, oh, I have to look at the notes, then write it down, not just let me just go on Google, just copy and paste it, and that's it. And I have done it because I've done like in the science classroom. Sometimes if she's doing it online, I have used Google to just like, oh, this muscle is from this one, let me just put it there, turn it in, that's it. But for English, it's different because she's making us write it down now, like write down essays, which is much better because it makes us think. It's just it's scientifically proven that you learn more, and that's like the whole main reason that we should think about, like, is it more conveniently that is more convenient that we're using technology because it's much better, it's much quicker, faster, but are you learning the same that you're writing on pen and paper?
Yeah, and I think us as a district, we have to find the happy medium, because technology is not going anywhere. It's just going to continue to advance. AI is already, so we're so behind already. But there has to be a way that we can still strive for academic excellence without only using a device, right? But using our voices, using our eyes to make eye contact, having group projects, those sorts of things. And that's where we have to find our happy medium. But
And I agree. And I just want to add on, because even in the most controlled environment, I have a class where we're doing notes in the beginning and we're handwriting it. And then it's like you only open your Chromebook when I tell you to open your Chromebook. And then you go in and like on that Nearpod and you can like, hey, let's answer questions about this. And then now we're doing an activity that is going over what we just wrote notes about. And then at the end of the period, when lessons are done, then you can pull out your phone and do that. And even in those situations where it's controlled, you still have those few students in the classroom who are loud, who are distractive and disruptive. And it goes back to like, again, on a different section, I have a teacher where we use our books that we get from the library and we have to look up definitions in that book and read pages. And that's where you get that I have to write and learn how to spell, and there isn't some Grammarly correcting it for me. And I'm actually learning how to read and comprehend, and the same way you do in that reading in that book, that pencil and paper, because in contracts and things that you have to do in life and in the future where you have to understand and be able to read, comprehend, and write properly. I think this digital learning sometimes hinder us in that aspect because it's preparing us for the digital aspect of the future and preparing us for this technology advancement, but it's hindering us in the most basic thing in learning how to read and understand and write properly as you have to do in life.
Mm-hmm.
And then bringing that on, it's like like using technology definitely like hinders us from being more, let's say, hands-on with the assignment. But also when we do go back to, if we do, or some subjects we do use pen and paper, pencil and paper, there's also that other puzzle piece that is kind of like Miss Corona said, giving a digital device and then you doing it, but also that same aspect of giving a packet and then writing it down and just writing it all by your hand. There's also there's that similarity where it's like, yes, you may be handing it all down, writing it down by pencil, but is also this teacher engaging with you, because it's also the fact that you're getting it all on paper, you're writing all on pen and pencil. But if the teacher is still not engaging with you, not further explaining what's on that packet, what's on that material, are you still really getting a different type of education if the teacher is not engaged?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I know we're out of time, but who's going to be coming back next year? Okay,
good.
are y'all going to be on ICC still? So we can still have these great conversations. Who's graduating? Let's give them a round of applause.
Did anybody win a scholarship last night?
Did anybody here win a scholarship last night? No?
No.
I'm just kidding.
So I do want just to keep all those that raised your hands that you'll be back next year. Continue to plant the seed about methods and ways for students to give feedback. Not you, but the general population of the 20,000. How and where can they give feedback and input? I think town halls would be a great, or whatever we call it, town hall, but there was some concern that wouldn't work. So thank you all so much for your
if I could say
time.
one thing
Oh
too.
yes, Mrs. Mann.
I would also like to see more other high school representation as well. I think there's only 4 here. 5? No, there was 4. There's only four schools that are representing today. 5?
AV's here, right?
Yeah, AV's here.
East Side.
Do we have Little Rock?
We have no Rock, no, no East Side.
No, East Side is here.
Sorry, East Side, Palmdale or Knight.
Yeah, so I think it.
Oh, okay. Well,
So, Madam President, if we can, because I love
Yes.
hearing from you. I'm gonna miss the ones that are going. Congratulations. You're going to bigger, better things. I know it. But I think that should be probably done, if not on a quarterly basis.
every other month is my hope,
Okay.
but it depends if I'm president. So yes, this is the work, right? This is the dialogue, because then the cabinet, as well as the superintendent, our great president of the AV Teachers Association, can hear from students' voices. So thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
And we look forward to seeing what John Lloyd is gonna go
in the
on.
future.
And all the best. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move to 3 closed session. Are there any comments from the public on closed session items? All right, so we will adjourn until 1 hour. No, what time?
We just can't come up with 7.
Oh, right. 7:30 approximately.
Wow.
We're going to reconvene the regular meeting. Moving into 5, public comments. Are there any comments from the public on agendized items?
Yes, we have 2.
The public is invited to address the board on any agenda item. To address an item on the agenda, speaker forms must be given to the designee before the board president chair announces this item. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input shall be limited to 20 minutes. Only one person is permitted to stand at the podium at a time. No speaker may relinquish a time allotment to another speaker. During public comments, the board listens to concerns issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification. The law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking action on items not on the agenda. Mr. Millings on 6A, Desert Sands Charter Contract. Welcome.
Hello again, everyone. On the agenda this evening is the Desert Sands Charter School contract to provide summer school to our students. AVTA is appreciative and thankful for the increase to the hourly rate Desert Sands has given us, and we look forward to doing what we do best this summer, educating kids. Tomorrow, the district and AVTA meet for the first time this bargaining season. As usual, I'm hopeful that a settlement that is mutually beneficial to both parties will happen in a timely fashion. Thank you for your time. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Vivian on 6A, Desert Sands Charter. Welcome, Ms. Vivian. It's nice to see you.
It's been a while.
Did we see? Hello, everybody. Thank you for your concern for me and letting me know how you guys have missed me. Some of you all that I know on the board, and I appreciate it. I'm trying to recollect, because I don't always remember, the Desert Sands issue where probably a parent or student teacher came in. If this is the young man that came in where they're saying there was so much going on at that school, that had so much happening where the kids were kind of out of control or different things. I believe it was Desert Sands a while back where he was just needing a lot of support. And I think when you were president, Mr. Hughes, you probably made sure somebody got on it and Mr. Nehan on it. So, but even if it's not that, if it's anything for our kids in this district, anytime we need something with special classes, extra hours to get these kids back on point on anything Desert Sand, I'm voting and wanting that to be approved no matter what, because all these kids with their different levels of education and their skills and their learning disabilities or learning not disabilities or anything that they need, we need to have enough students available with teachers available to help them to make sure that they are able to receive extra help to get through summer school, to get through regular school, and just to get through any struggles that they got. So if this is Desert Sands' vote to say, make sure that we do get the summer school for them and make sure that the hours are there for them and pay the teachers the way they need to be paid, then I'm all for that. And I wish you guys make sure that that does happen for them. So I'm just here for the vote to say, make sure that they do get that if that's the case. And any other things that we have with these other students on some of the schools that are having challenges that I recollect. That's really why I took the effort to come up here to do that, thinking it was that gentleman that was saying how rough some of the schools were, that one of the schools were, they were having so much trouble. So please make sure that that happens, that they get some help either way it goes. I appreciate that. That's it.
Thank you, Ms. Vivian.
Mr. Nehan, can you kind of explain to Ms. Vivian kind of how the teachers and then the schools work to what they do in that school?
I'm sorry, what school?
Yeah, about what we're voting on the contract tonight.
So
Yeah.
it's a cooperative effort for summer school between the district and the charter school. We're allowed to offer credit recovery for students who've taken a class but need to improve their grade or pass the class, as well as enrichment where students can take certain classes for original credit and get caught up or get a little bit ahead in progress towards graduation.
Yeah, and our teachers help in that aspect.
Absolutely. It's all of our teachers that do the teaching.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure.
Appreciate that. I understand that. I understand that type of recovery for the kids and stuff like that. I was just concerned about that other issue. I thought this was one of the schools that were really struggling in the district, that one of the people that came in and said, we really need help for that school. So that's what that was, but I get that too, Doc. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Good night.
All right. Let's move on to B, public comments from the floor for non-agendized items. Are there any comments from the public for non-agendized
Yes,
items?
we have 5.
The public is invited to address the board on any matter not on the agenda that is within the jurisdiction of the board. To address an item not on the agenda, speaker forms must be given to the designee before the board president chair announces this item. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each, and the total time for public input shall be limited to 20 minutes. Only one person is permitted to stand at the podium at a time. No speaker may relinquish a time allotment to another speaker. During public comments, the board listens to concerns or issues. The board may ask questions for purposes of clarification. The law prohibits the board from entering into a dialogue with the public or taking action on items not on the agenda. All right, first up is Clint regarding non-contract days, June. Welcome.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
I'm Clint Ed. I'm the security rep for CSEA Chapter 612. I would have had a lot to say about the upcoming tentative agreement we're voting on, but once again, I think I'm alone. But nobody can say I didn't show up. Nobody can say I didn't show up. It's on the record. When I want to talk about the non-contract days in June is unfortunately, there's some individuals that got ahead of themselves in classified, and they started putting out some information about a potential walkout. And an individual made a phone call to me, was asking how to get out of some trouble because there was some context of what she said to our chapter president in an email that was taken incorrectly. So she was asking my advice on how to get out of that. My name keeps getting put into potentially being the ringleader for these walkouts, strikes, work stoppages in June. So I just want to make it public. I've spoken with Mrs. Ramos. Thank you very much for taking my phone calls. Mrs. Ramos, you've been amazing through this, and I know you've put up with a lot with me because I'm a troublemaker, and I appreciate you, ma'am. I really do. I never have, nor would I ever advise, suggest, convince in any way, shape, or form for classified employees to strike, to walk out, to do a work stoppage of any kind, especially during the workday where kids are going to be left alone. I always work the first week of June because the kids and my team expect me to be there. So if anybody hears that Clint Ed's name is being put into this walkout or anything that might happen in June, I'm here to publicly say that nope, not me. I'm not the one that's going to potentially be terminated because somebody's walking out. So if anybody has any questions after the meeting, I'll stay and talk to anybody that wants to talk to me about it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
Semper Fidelis.
All right, next is Miss Vivian on the topic of thank you appreciation grad cards.
Came in a little later, so I thought I'd be a little later for this. So I just wanted to make sure that I recognize you all that are here now because like I said, I'm here to really recognize everyone that I know has been a part of helping me when I was really coming into this district to learn some things that were going on back in those days. And to think how I see how when you were president, Hughes, how you stepped up to me about many things in this whole district and the rest of the 2 people that came in at first, which was Carlos and Miguel, when they came in to help the district out with everything. I basically got up today to really come and just say thank you to some people that I had wanted to thank before I getting ready for a major hip surgery or whatever, because I'm just trying to lose some weight. I don't mind saying what's going on with me. I'm okay because I plan on being back and coming back and seeing what's going on with this district. As long as I know kids are here and I want to be supportive to the kids in this district and anywhere, I'm going to keep my nose involved. So I just kind of want to first say just throw some names out because I know that what I learned when Dr. Ruffin was here, which I tell you, that was an amazing woman that helped me to be able to say thank you to everybody. I know that you're not allowed to give people anything or gifts or anything, but when she had left, I did give her some flowers or something. But I learned how against rules, anything to say, oh, thank you, or give you guys something, it would be way past anything. You can't do that kind of stuff, like taking bribes or something like that, whether I said a gift card or not. But today I do want to say that Christine Ramos, I did put a $10 gift card in here. I want the president and all them for Starbucks. Well, I'm sorry, Christine Ramos, I apologize. No, I didn't do that with you. I have a card for you because I wasn't sure how the board leaders and all that stuff was, but I do have a card to say thank you because you really helped me when I came to you and needed you for some things that you helped me with when I first came to district. Mr. Roscoe, I can't even tell you how much I love you and thank you for everything. And there is a $10 gift card from Starbucks in here. President can check it. Marissa, she's not here, but she was very pleasant how she's always been kind to me and she comes up in here when she started here. Priscilla, I have a $10 gift card for her as well. My boy back there, security guard, Mr. Chris. Sorry, this card looks old, but I've had it for a while for you. You got a $10 gift card. I'm just saying, I just had to say this, but I had to say something to this board before I leave. John Lloyd, I have a $10 gift card for that young man that when he's there, just any student that will sit up and try to deal with some of the things and hear the stuff that these kids go through, because he has to sit through the whole meetings, opposed to many of the kids that are in the district that just come and put on their performances. They don't get to hear all the things that is going on. That's something I wish that we can put out there, that let these kids know that they're able to come to this district and know that they need to know what's going on in their schools, in the district, and some of their fellow
30
students and
seconds.
stuff. Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
And yeah, Mr. Nean, I gotta thank you, Carp. You thank you for trying to step up and help out around here and get some people together here. I got Miss L. Rosemary. And I want to say I thank you for coming to this district. I done heard great things about you, so that you're trying to come in here and help out. Carla, I got you. So Carlos, I want to say thank you because Carla, you always see me in the neighborhood. And I want to say something. I'm going to add 30 more seconds on this. Miguel, I want to make sure that he got a thank you. Just saying thank you. Mr. Charles Hughes, you know how I feel about you, still my president. And okay, Cynthia, the clerk, I want to know. So these are just things that I really want to say thank you for you all stepping up. I've heard you doing great jobs for coming in here trying to help our district out. And I want to say thank you because I will be around, but I do like to know and thank that you all are coming to help out this district and our kids. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms.
I'll
Vivian.
pass the John Lord. Thank you very much. I'm passing here so I won't get in no trouble saying I'm giving no bribes out or anything.
Thank you, Ms. Vivian. That was so sweet. Yeah, that's great. All right, next up.
I just want to clarify.
Yes, Mr.
Mr. Meehan, has this room's changed? That's crazy. You got anything to say about that? Good job, good leadership. I just want to say a good job to you and your cabinet and your staff. So
Thank you.
it's night and day, sir.
Okay. All right, next we have Joanna Aguilar on the topic of student committee proposal. Welcome. Is it Joanna?
Yes.
Okay.
So good evening. My name is Johanna Aguilar. I'm a junior at Palmdale High School. I come here alone to speak on behalf of a topic that has been brought to my attention. But I'd firstly like to thank you for giving me the chance to speak. Now, I didn't know that there was a student committee here, so this was me giving a proposal on behalf of creating a student committee. Because one of my teachers had been talking to me about it, and I was like, I'd love to come here and just propose it. Now, there is some subjects that are very important that I highlighted, though, that I'd still like to bring up. Now, as a student leader and someone involved in clubs and school improvement projects, I've seen how many students want to help improve the district, whether it's through ideas, volunteering, events, or leadership. But often students don't get the chance to be a part of decisions that are directly affecting us every single day. Now, one thing is that I didn't know because it wasn't very we weren't aware of the fact that we had a student committee at Palmdale High School. It isn't made very known, and that's a problem with a lot of the extracurriculars we have at school and the AP classes that are offered. We aren't aware of these things, and it's a common thing that's been going on, but I will continue to highlight that. At my school, the teachers that have made a great impact on students, like my AP Art History teacher, Mr. Calzada, and my AP Pre-Calculus teacher, Mr. Fields, are alumni of the Antelope Valley Union High School District. Mr. Calzada is an alumni from Palmdale High School, and Mr. Fields an alumni from Eastside High School, if I'm correct. And because they're living what we're living, they speak to us differently. They understand us at a deeper level, and they don't just ask, they guide us. They don't just teach us, they guide us. They talk about the importance of education because they know how easy it is to grow up not not being seen as important. Many decisions about our school are made without the input of students who are actually in these classrooms every single day. We're expected to succeed in a system that often doesn't speak to our realities. You can't assign work to a student and expect them to thrive if all they've ever been told at home is that they have to be in school just so their parents don't get sent to court. For many reasons, for many of us, education hasn't been explained as a pathway. It's just been treated as a requirement, and that has to change. I propose that the Antelope Valley Union High School District create a student committee, a program that allows students from every school to join, give input, and help shape district-wide initiatives. It is important, it could function like a student advisory council meeting monthly or quarterly, with student members selected through an application process to
30
ensure
seconds.
diversity and dedication. This would give students real-world leadership experience, provide the board with youth input on key decisions, and build stronger relationships with the district and its students. Most importantly, it would motivate students. When students are heard, they care more. When they understand why they're doing something, they give more. Now, these are just, oh wait, sorry. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to provide a written version of this idea and would love the opportunity to help develop it further.
Thank you, Johanna. Johanna, before you leave, come back up. So you go to Palmdale High School.
Yes.
And Mr. Nehan, just for clarification, who is the person at Palmdale High School that does their ICC or their student leadership?
So there's two different programs. There's a school ASB, and I believe that is Mr. Bledsoe and Mr. Nadanza. And then Miss Calvert, who is here this evening, she is the ICC instructor. She's also a teacher at Palmdale High School. So you could talk to either of those three.
So what I would like is, can you please direct whomever to reach out to Johanna? Do you check your email
Yes.
at school?
Yes.
For school account?
Yes, I do.
All right. So if we could have them reach out to you with your contact info,
Yes.
then you can get involved, because I think you were here when
Yes,
we
I
were
was.
here at
Yes.
5:30, and this board has decided to bring all of these students, I'm hoping every other month, because we want to hear your voice. I 100% agree with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, Johanna, you did an outstanding job. You're going to be a great public speaker one day.
Thank you.
I concur.
All right. Next, Mrs. Keelan Wrighton. Colleen, Colleen, Academy of Creative Arts, AV. Welcome.
Good evening. I am Mrs. Colleen M. Wrighton, Board Chair and Lead Petitioner for Academy of Creative Technologies, AV. I hold a master's degree in educational counseling and have over 20 years experience as an educator. I want to speak on the treatment of our leadership team and the integrity of the process. From the very start, interactions with the district including irregularities. For instance, our very first implementation meeting via Zoom, an individual who was just not part of our ACT AV team was introduced to the meeting without explanation. We later discovered evidence of unauthorized communication being accepted as official that we, the ACT AV board, never approved. In fact, third-party individuals falsely represented themselves as ACT AV leadership, submitted information to the California Department of Education without our knowledge. These unauthorized actions were known by the district and created significant confusion and delays in our efforts to secure a facility, hire staff. We are deeply concerned Despite all of this, we still kept our professional integrity. Finally, we want to reiterate why we're here for the students and families of Antelope Valley. The district decision made without any opportunity for us to cure minor issues despite our substantial progress runs to counter the best interests of those students. In closing, I urge you to right this wrong. The AV board has acted in good faith and met obligations. We simply ask that the district do the same by upholding the law, honoring its own process, and prioritizing students' needs. Please reconsider the denial of Act AV's charter or support our appeal
30
and-
seconds.
and allow us to move forward, providing a high-quality educational option for our community. Thank you for your time and listening to our concerns.
Thank you. All right, next is Mr. James Goins. Okay. On topic, Academy of Creative Technologies, AV. Welcome.
Thank you. First of all, my name is James Goins. I'm a resident of the Antelope Valley. I have 34 years of teaching experience. I retired in 2007, went into the public sector and went into the private sector, and I run a 30-year-old private arts foundation and an internet business development company for 20 years. I am here to present a factual summary of ACT AV's progress and to raise serious procedural concerns regarding the abrupt denial of our charter petition. Our team has worked relentlessly to meet every requirement to launch ACT AV from January through April 2025. We submitted detailed monthly progress reports documenting key milestones, including securing a facility lease, obtaining the city's council use permit, conditional use permit, and at no point did the district notify us of any deficiencies. There were no written warnings, no cure notices, and no indications that our charter was at risk, violating Education Code 47607D. Then, without public notice or discussion, the board denied our charter in closed session on April 25th, 2025. There was no agenda item, no open session deliberation, and no transparency, clear violation of the Browns Act requirement for open governance. According to the district council, the entire decision occurred behind closed doors. That is just not legal. That's not legal, and it's a breach of public trust. We urge the boards to acknowledge that proper legal process was not followed. The law demands transparency, and due process requires that schools be informed and given a chance to address concerns before a decision of this magnitude is made. Key facts. 1, we submitted formal monthly updates in January, February, March, and April, detailing progress of our facility, permits, and timelines. 2, on April 21st of this year, we requested a facility deadline extension with a detailed update proving we were at the cusp of meeting all safety and occupancy requirements. 3, at no time did the district signal concerns, requests, corrections, or indicate possible denial. 4, we made repeated documented requests March 30th, April 21st, April 24th, for a special education MOU and CalPADS access, both essential for legal enrollment and funding. No response was ever received. 5, we were placed in a catch-22 situation, penalized for not enrolling students while being denied the tools to do so.
30 seconds.
That is not a good thing. Anyway, in closing, we respectfully urge the board to reconsider ACT AV's petition, not because we've met the requirements, but because the students of this community, including those with special needs, deserve access to the innovative education ACT AV provides. Basically, want to get back to what matters, the students. Let's correct the process failure, and let's move together. Thank you.
Thank you.
I got a couple of clarification questions. Suki, I don't ever remember denying a petition. Did we deny a petition?
No, this petition has not been denied. As the board will recall, this petition was granted a conditional approval. So that meant that the conditions that were set forth in writing and adopted by the board and were publicly known to everyone were not met.
So the speaker that just spoke to the board here actually was sharing very inaccurate information, correct?
I believe that Mr. Goins is sharing inaccurate information. I believe I'm not certain of his role with ACT AV because I understand that just 2 days ago, he had presented 2 contracts that he wanted ATC AV, to approve. And that he's also being considered for that board. So there's a financial gain that he may or may not have. I've not seen his voice. I've not communicated with him previously, but the board has not denied this charter. This charter was told that they cannot open for 25-26 because they failed to meet the conditions. And I'd just like to clarify one thing, and I know that there's some more questions. There's a reference made that district council said something was occurring behind closed doors. Any and all communications that I have with the board are, of course, confidential. And so I would never disclose anything that was confidential of that nature. And I have repeatedly stated to their attorney that I would not disclose anything that was confidential.
So another inaccuracy
Yes.
from his testimony?
Yes.
Okay. The last charter school, not this one, I'm talking about the last one, the last failed one, that certain individuals were involved. Some of those same individuals are involved in this one, correct?
Yes, some of those same. So the charter that you're referring to is Synergy,
Yes.
and it closed abruptly. And there was a significant detrimental impact on the staff and the students and also the community,
Yeah.
as well as the district,
was
because
terrible.
we had to take those students back.
And we had a lot of those teachers coming here talking about not being paid. They were denied wages. They worked and they didn't get paid.
Absolutely. And they also made claims. They didn't just come to the board. They made claims against the district for those.
So the same people are coming here on this second charter, all of a sudden got involved with the same, but they were there prior to.
Yes. So the individual that was the executive director of the earlier charter is also now designated as the executive director of this charter.
Financial gain as well.
Yes, of course. Several $100,000 salaries.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he's here for these kids. Okay. So our job is when we look at petitions, we just look at petitions, and by law, we should lean towards approving these petitions in good faith.
Yes.
Okay. And this board did that, I believe. In addition, we made sure this petition was a conditional petition, correct?
Correct.
So we put conditions that they have to meet to make sure it didn't happen again. Because my understanding, the same people weren't involved. It was different people, which is fine. I don't think the petitioner was involved with the last one. But
yeah, so with respect to those conditions, contrary to what was asserted in the public comments, those were not minor in nature. These are significant conditions.
I wrote that down.
A
That was a
facility, they were to acquire a facility by March 31st, 2025. They did not acquire that facility.
And that
as
facility had to be ready for students to come in that
Yes.
met all the criteria, correct?
Exactly.
And they didn't do that, correct?
Did not do that and did not even ask for an extension until 3 weeks after. And if you think about it, today is May 15th. So they've actually had a de facto extension of 45 days and they still don't have anything.
So even if we would have given them an additional 45 days, they still didn't meet that criteria.
Exactly.
Okay, that was just to have an actual place to put students. My second, is there students enrolled in this school?
There's not a single student that's enrolled. There was a representation that somehow the failure to provide access to CalPads delayed this. And in fact, there was an assertion that was made to me that the district's failure to provide this limited their ability to do so. And it was illegal for them to enroll students without CalPads information.
So they were misinformed or just uneducated on the process, correct?
Yes, because I have informed their council that per CDE criteria, which is easily available on the CDE webpage that I sent him a link to, it is the responsibility of the charter to have that CalPads information and to enter that CalPads information. The district has no role or involvement with that.
Okay. And then how about staff? Do they have any staff except for these high-paid potential contracts to
Not a
some of these
single one.
administrators?
No, not a single staff. And that was the same timeline that needed to be met. And so the purpose behind the board's conditions was to ensure that this was a school that was ready to serve students. And incident that happened last time had such a detrimental impact on those students and on those staff that the board thoughtfully and deliberately considered these conditions and set the timelines such that the school would be successful if those conditions were met.
Okay, because I know this board was very excited to make sure that this school got off, but we don't control it. So can you explain a dependent or an independent charter?
Sure, absolutely. So a dependent charter has a very close affiliation with a district. Many times the employees that are at that dependent charter will be district employees as well. An independent charter is a standalone corporation. It is responsible for ensuring that it is in complying with all of the laws, not just those in the Ed Code, but also all laws that are applicable to governmental agencies. The district's role for an independent charter is we're an oversight agency. We're to essentially monitor that they're doing what they represented to you that they would be doing in the charter petition. We take our role very seriously as an oversight agency because if we don't perform our duties and responsibilities, we can be sued and deemed to be responsible for their debts and obligations.
Have we had any threats of being sued?
Yes, we
on
have.
this one.
And
So they've threatened to sue us already based on their failures.
Yes.
Okay.
So there was the individual that is representing them. He's not here tonight, but he did threaten to file an injunction against the district. And at their board meeting earlier this week, they also have stated that they're going to appeal this decision to the Los Angeles County Office of Ed. There is nothing to appeal because there is no denial, but nevertheless.
Have they made any other threats towards my counsel? That we may or may not want to. Well, actually, I'll retract that question because I think I'm personally going to file a bar complaint because I'm very offended by that potential threat.
Yeah.
Because that is a bar complaint in itself. But again, that's something I can do as an individual, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm thinking about doing that. All right, I think that pretty much covers that. Is anything that man said was true? That you could pick out? There has to be some. Okay, cool. All right, thank you very much. All right, I'm done, Madam President.
All right, thank you for the clarifications. All right. Well, let's move to action item 6. 6A, Student Enrichment and Credit Recovery Program, EDS 2024-25076. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the summer school agreement with Desert Stands as presented. Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion? All right, let's vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? No opposition. The motion passes. Oh, okay. Okay. All right, B, adoption of English language arts textbooks and instructional materials, EDS 2025-26-004. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees adopt the ELA textbooks and instructional materials. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? No, these I just want to say these I really like in these books, the texts. Great job on the review, and I think they will serve our students well. All right, can I get all those in favor say aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. Motion passes. C, purchase order schedule. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the attached PO schedule authorizing the purchases outlined on the schedule. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Discussion. So just discussion. Just for the PO, and this was all of the, I'm sorry, Mr. Nian, can you confirm that this is where the Sweetwater Sound and this was the PO schedule, right?
Correct.
And all that. Okay. So everyone, I just again want to ensure that all of this investment that we're giving into the AMIM, all the arts materials and the instruments and the mariachi uniforms and everything like that. It's over $100,000 here that we are inventorying it, and there's a clear process and procedure for all of these goods so that it can last beyond a couple of years. I love the investment. Of course, was an amazing grant we got, AMIM and Prop 28. But again, just to kind of call out that this investment, we got to make sure we take care of it. All right. Thank you. That was my discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Seeing none, motion passes. D, employee conference trip reimbursement schedule. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the attached schedule for encumbrances and or reimbursements. Can I get a motion?
I'll motion.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Seeing none.
Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. Student trip schedule. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve the attached schedule for school trips as presented. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion passes. All right. We're going to move to 7, closed session report out. Okay, item 7B. During closed session, the board considered the employee appointment title Special Education Principal. By a vote of 4-0, the board took action to approve the appointment of Alex Santoyo to Special Education Principal. Item 7C. During closed session, the board considered the employee appointment title Assistant Principal. By a vote of 4-0, the board took action to approve the appointment of Aaron Foley to Assistant Principal. Item 7D, during closed session, the board considered the employee appointment title Vice. Congratulations, Mr. Foley. Item 7D, during closed session, the board considered the employee appointment title Vice Principals, and I will read all three together. By a vote of 4-0. Wait, I can read them separate, right? I'm going to read them together because it's by a vote of 4-0 for all three to approve Valerie George, Farah Aslani Vaton, and Ron Wilson. Was that clear, Mr. Nian?
Yes.
Okay. Item 7E, during closed session, the board considered the employee appointment title Director 3 Behavioral Intervention. By a vote of 4-0, the board took action to approve the appointment of Jada Jackson to Director 3 Behavioral Intervention. Item 7F. May I please have a motion to approve administrative hearing panel recommendations for student expulsions
Motion.
and to order as presented the expulsion of 2 students?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, seeing none, motion passes.
You jump again. Finish.
All right. B, adjournment.
Motion.
It is recommended that the board adjourn the meeting for this fine evening of Thursday, May 15th, 2025. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any
No.
opposed? All right, everyone, good night.
I changed that to an I.
People got places to be, I think.